Okay, here we are. Now, this is a very interesting sort of chat we're going to have today because it's Greg and Nate together, which is kind of weird because you both play in Acoustic Alchemy and you both play the same instrument in Acoustic Alchemy, but never with each other.
We're like bass players on the local scene. You know, the bass players, you expect everybody knows each other, but of course they're never on the same gig together.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, Greg, we never get to play together.
No, well, I mean, the whole concept of Acoustic Alchemy was a nylon string and steel string, so that would be unusual.
Blasphemous.
Two nylons would be too much, right? So I think most people know why we have two nylon players, but Greg, do you want to just for the people who don't know, explain it a little?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's quite a personal thing, but I mean, my wife got ill a few years ago, and it just meant that well, there were a few tours that I couldn't do that I know Nate covered, and I really appreciate that, because I just couldn't. I had to look after her basically, and the situation is now that you know, post COVID, because I mean we haven't done anything for 2 years. I mean, we're going out on tour in a month's time, and that's the first time in ages. So, but I think for me personally, I obviously would like Acoustic Alchemy to keep touring and do lots of touring, but I won't be able to do all the gigs. And Nate has very, very kindly said he'll cover me, and I'm really pleased about that, Nate, because you know. it's a good I mean, it's a good thing.
I mean, well, that was kind of the decision we had to make, was knowing that you couldn't do as much touring as you know we like.
Yeah.
The only options we have are either only do a handful of dates and have loads of people around America going, we never get to see you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Why aren't you here anyway?
Well, yeah, but even more so, we would have just a few handful of dates, and that's it. And it's great that we found a way to do it and still play all the gigs that we love playing. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the immediate future, this is something that is going to work. And like I say, Nate, I really appreciate you doing it, because it would be difficult for me personally if you didn't.
Well, I mean, Greg, I'm completely delighted to do it, and I'm very, very flattered for the invitation, to be honest. I mean, the first time that I got to sit in your chair, so to speak, was just what a thrill for me. I've been listening to Acoustic Alchemy since I began playing the guitar. You yourself are a great inspiration for me playing the nylon string guitar in a contemporary context. I mean, a great, very early inspiration to me. So to get to even play in Acoustic Alchemy in any format is, I mean, it's really a dream come true. I mean that.
That's great.
What was the first gig? Do you remember the first gig? Was it, I've got a feeling, was it Yoshi's?
I think it was Yoshi's.
That was when I knew we'd made the right choice, and it was nothing to do with the guitar playing. It was because you arrived the very first day with a box of donuts for everyone, and I thought, you know what, he's going to fit right in here. This is perfect.
Well, you know, those donuts there at Jack London's, that whole area, man, you can get the best donuts in the world over there. California, they know how to do it.
So maybe the only thing I might hold you to, though, is we're going to test that theory, because my favorite donut place is in
Seattle.
No, there's a better one.
What?
I discovered Voodoo Donuts in Portland.
Really?
We're gonna be there. We're gonna be there in July.
So
we'll see. We can A B it. But enough about donuts. Yeah, let's talk about nylon guitars.
You've obviously touched something in James, because I would never do that.
This is why it was such a breath of fresh air. When was the last time you brought me donuts, Greg? Come on.
In fact, what I would normally do when he's eating a donut, I would take it away.
Which also is another good thing, that if we can find a balance between giving me donuts and then stopping me eating all the donuts, that would be perfect. But enough about donuts. So let me ask both of you this. I think for a lot of people, when they think of a guitar, they think of the steel string, you know, and the nylon is such a different instrument. What was it that attracted you to playing a nylon guitar?
Are you talking to me or talking to Nate?
Both of you. You can decide who
Yeah.
goes first between you. I guess you have seniority, don't you, Greg? So.
I mean, you're right. The nylon string occupies, doesn't it, Nate? I mean, a very, very small sort of market, and also people tend to think of it as sort of a Spanish classical guitar, not you know, not a sort of rock instrument or something that you can get up and do your thing on. I mean, for me, it was an accident. I don't know about you, Nate, but I wasn't actually supposed to be a nylon string guitar player. It's just pure, just something that happened because I was a steel string player, an electric guitar player, and but I got to that point in my life when, in order to keep studying music, I had to, you know, at College of Music, they didn't want to know about electric guitar then or steel string. You had to be a classical nylon string. So that's when I switched, and somehow I got stuck with it, but actually found I actually quite enjoyed it. And when Acoustic Alchemy formed, with Nick Webb, him playing the steel and me playing the nylon, it all kind of made sense, and that was it, really. I mean, I was never going to be a solo classical guitar player. That didn't really, I still, you know, that wasn't my thing, and not something I would particularly want to do. Frightening, actually.
Yeah, I understand. You know, it's interesting because we actually have a bit of a similar path in that regard. I came up as a kid playing rock guitar. James, that's why I like to listen to Led Zeppelin with you so much. And when I began
Donuts, Led Zeppelin, it's all good. Yeah,
there you go. But I started getting interested in jazz, right? And I had a high school math teacher who gave me Wes Montgomery. He taped, it was a cassette tape, and he had taped a Wes Montgomery record and a Django Reinhardt record. And I said, wow, I got to figure out how to do that. And I went and I found a teacher in town who was this great jazz guitar teacher. His name is Frank Mullen, and he was from Washington, D.C. And he and Charlie Bird were buddies. They had the same guitar teacher in D.C., the same classical guitar teacher. So one thing that happened in my lessons is, even though we played kind of standard American repertoire, jazz tunes and so in the lessons, because of his classical background, he taught you came in, you played a nylon string acoustic in your lesson instead of a steel string. And I fell in love with the sound of the instrument so much that I went and found anything I could find of somebody playing not classical guitar on a nylon string guitar. And there was Acoustic Alchemy, there was Charlie Bird, there was Gene Bertoncini, there was Earl Klugh. That's about all I could find at the time. You know, this was before Google. And I just listened to everything I could because I fell in love with that box. You know, the thing is, for the limited dynamic range that it has when you combine it with the drums and the amplification and so forth, the instrument itself is really, it's the whole ensemble if you want it to be. You can do so much with this one guitar, and it's lyrical as can be. I mean, you know, think of the melodies you play, how lyrical it is. It's, what a beautiful sound. I don't need any of the other sounds.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, as a solo instrument, it's fantastic. I mean, obviously the steel string for picking is also beautiful as well, absolutely gorgeous. But so is a nylon string. Yeah, I mean, it's trickier when you're playing with a band, and obviously with Acoustic Alchemy, you know, you've had to kind of, with a very loud band, as you know, I mean, things change. You know, certain registers that you're playing that you can normally hear get swallowed up by the amplification. Yeah, I mean, so it is tricky, and actually finding a way to cut through, but it still sounds like a nylon string guitar has been a bit of a sort of course, really, I think.
Yeah, well, honestly, I mean, I think you've done it fabulously. And just the live sound, it sounds like a guitar is supposed to sound on top of what's essentially a rock and roll rhythm section.
Yeah.
You know, and man, this what you guys did out the sound of alchemy, it's really hip. I'm telling you, I'm just so I'm excited. It's
Oh,
so
that's
good.
great. Yeah. I mean, I think the thing also with the alchemy that I'm really sort of proud of is obviously the music. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's the music, isn't it? I mean, it's the songs, you know. I mean, I get a tremendous kick out of going on, but you know, it's fantastic when you go onto YouTube and you see young guys, young bands playing acoustic alchemy songs. It's fantastic. It's wonderful, and that's really humbling, really. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I was talking to Miles on I guess, you know, it was the first tour we did. And I told him how much I loved playing the parts. And one of the things that I love so much about playing with Alchemy is that it's a really rich and vast repertoire. And everybody is playing the part to make this delicious ensemble sound. And Miles said, well, that's exactly what we do. He says, the guitars are the stars. And I don't recall the exact words he used, but basically we're the stewards of that because, you know, you guys created such a rich repertoire. You know, you're talking about the songs. We're song people. And that's one of the most gratifying things to me about playing with Alchemy is that I get to, you know, when I'm playing up there, I think, how would Greg want this to sound? And that's how I approach playing your parts. You know, I don't say I'm going to put Nate on these parts because that's not what alchemy is. Alchemy is about this rich repertoire that you guys created and this aesthetic. So I think, how would Greg want me to do this? And then I do that the best I can. and the intention is that, you know, all of us, and I'm playing with Miles, and the guitars are the stars, and this rich repertoire lives on.
Yeah, that's talking about guitars because you know, so you'll be playing the Manson guitar because it is difficult, isn't it? I mean, I remember some early gigs where I had just a straight, you know, acoustic nylon string guitar, and it was a disaster with the feedback and everything. So you had to.
I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, we did with the last tour. You borrowed Greg's Manson, right?
Yeah, actually, I've used it for every gig, every
right,
one.
okay.
I have a solid body at Buscarino. It's a very nice guitar. It sounds wonderful. That I used it with Jesse J a lot, and that's what I had intended to use with Alchemy. But you had the Manson, and when I put my hands on it, I said, I can play this at this volume. And it feels like a real box.
Yeah. It's funny because it's a loud guitar. I mean, it can take on an electric guitar.
Yeah,
because it doesn't really feed back, that one. It's yeah.
And it feels fabulous. What a great box.
Yeah, Andy Manson made a great neck. It's lovely. It's very, very nice to play, I think.
Yeah. So I enjoy it immensely. You know, I mean, there's, like I said, the sound we get is pretty good.
Yeah, better put some new strings on it.
All right.
Very good. Right. Well, we shall wrap this up. It's been great speaking to both of you, and we're very much looking forward to the forthcoming tour. We've got the full tour goes all over the place: California, up through Denver, Portland, Seattle, and then East Coast. Ending up in New York, so all the dates.
Yeah, I should miss doing that. I should miss doing New York because I always like New York. But hey, so I'm sort of bailing, leaving after Seattle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting having not been away for 2 years to suddenly be back in that world of just.
Yeah, but I think it's funny, isn't it? I was thinking it's like anything. It's like when you haven't seen someone for 10 years, and then as soon as you hook up, you're back to where you were. You know.
Yeah.
I think when we get back on, because we've been doing it for so long, you know, when you get back, it'll just feel like yesterday. You know, it's No, I'm really looking forward to it.
And what have you got coming up in between now and Alchemy, Nate?
Oh man, I don't even know where to start. We're so busy. It's really hip. I have a new album coming out on the 17th of June.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
It's called Jazz Samba Pra Sempre, Jazz Samba Forever. And I basically reimagine the Charlie Burt Stan Getz Jazz Samba, because this year is 60 years of it. And my wife, Daniela Soledade, Daniela's got a new album coming out in August that we just finished, called Pretty World. So we've got all kinds of stuff coming out. And
I mean, I would recommend everyone check her out as well, because she's a stunning singer. I mean, she's just amazing, right?
Thanks. It's kind of you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I worship her.
That's your role in life, right? Yeah.
Yes.
You know your place. Yeah.
Yes. And I execute it perfectly.
Well, I'll try and get a link if I can wrap my head around it. I'll try and get a link out to some of your stuff with the stuff when we put this on social media.
Like, oh, great. Well, appreciate that. But I mean, I'm just excited. I'm serious. I'm just so happy to be going out with you guys again.
Yeah. No, it's really gonna be a great tour. We're looking forward to it. And
yeah. So, are you planning to? You're going presumably straight, because you're on the East Coast anyway, aren't you?
We actually, I mean, maybe this isn't for Facebook, but we were thinking, if we can, it would be great if Nate came to Seattle for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm planning on coming to Seattle. Actually, okay. We talked about it.
Yeah, so we're going to try and figure that out so that we've got some time to run everything, and you two can actually shake hands.
Yeah, Greg, you can help me out with some fingerings.
Careful how you say that. Okay, very good. Thanks, guys. Great to see you both, and cheers, looking forward to seeing you.
Really good to see you both. Stage. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.